Welcome to Puny Pod's Monthly Bugle for August 2025. My name is Ryan, and my co-host, as always, is David. David, we're recording like right on the heels of doing our main show. So usually I ask you how's it going, but I feel like I just saw you, dude.
You just don't give a care anymore. You're like, whatever. Let's just jump into the content.
How's your week began, I guess? We recorded on Sunday, so I guess there's been a couple of days.
So we're doing a home remodel, and it's just been a little bit of a stressor, but it's okay. And I'm gonna be happy to have a new bathroom. Anyway, I'm doing well. How are you?
Nice. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I have a very busy couple of weeks coming up. Part of that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but I know you're actually going to be in my neck of the woods, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll get to see you. You might get to see my parents and my child, though. They're going to the same Rockies game you are, so
That would be so. So I'm visiting Denver for work. There's my department, the group I work with, we're having an offsite, and we're going to Devil's Something Ranch for a couple days, and then I was like, oh, cool. Rockies are playing the Dodgers on Thursday at 1:00. Let's see. What would I rather do? Work more with the colleagues or go watch some baseball? So that's my plan. And it's so funny. You're going.
I'm
Monday?
going on Monday. Yeah. I'm going on Monday, and then Thursday is actually it's their CSU night. So like, a lot of baseball teams do like local colleges and stuff. So it's the CSU night at the Rockies.
Rams night.
Yeah, it's Rams night. And so my parents texted this week and they're like, "Hey, we realized we got 4 tickets instead of 2. We want to offer them to the grandsons." So, my brother and his son, and then my parents and my son will be going. I couldn't get the time off work, and Lisa didn't want to go. So, yeah, Ted gets to see 3 baseball games in 2 weeks. He gets to see the Dodgers on Monday. He gets to see the Dodgers on Thursday, and then he gets to see the Cubs while I am gone. While I'm in California, Lisa's gonna take him to the Cubs. So
To be clear, he gets to see the Rockies on
right.
Monday. He gets to see the Rockies on Thursday. He gets to see the Cubs, and he gets to see 3 Rockies losses. I predict that he'll get 1 win. I hope he gets 1 win.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't. The projected pitchers aren't quite stretched. I need to check the projected pitcher for Monday. I know the projected pitcher for Thursday is Kershaw.
Okay.
So
I've not seen him pitch in person, so I'd be excited to see that.
Yeah. And then I have no idea who's.
I don't know. Your rotation's getting a little thin, and the bottom half of your order is not that great. But well, anyway,
Yeah.
Enough of Dodgers talk. Let's migrate into something that's not my work trip or Teddy's upcoming baseball journeys.
Oh man. All right, listeners. Yes. So okay. Usually I like to throw in a spoiler warning. We're going to talk about Eyes of Wakanda. I am not going to lie to you. I don't think anything about Eyes of Wakanda is all that surprising or all that spoiler filled. So I'm not going to edit in a jump point for you guys. If you want to avoid Eyes of Wakanda spoilers and you want to watch that without spoilers, I would say pause this episode, go watch the 4 half-hour episodes of Eyes of Wakanda, then come back to this.
I don't know. I take the perspective we have no legally binding contract for non-spoilers. So come sue us in court or arbitration if you prefer that method of dispute resolution.
So yeah, all that to say, we're going to jump right into Eyes of Wakanda. We both watched it. We're going to review it real quick. Again, very similar to the way I realized I did not do with Fantastic Four. I never included a comic book preview, a comic book primer for Eyes of Wakanda. So quick, very, very quick Eyes of Wakanda comic book primer. The show is centered around the Hatut Zeraze, the War Dogs. Yep. They were introduced Black Panther Volume 3, Number 4, December of 1998. Christopher Priest, Mark Teixeira on that one.
Was Mark Teixeira still playing first base for Texas, or he was retired? I know. I'm just kidding.
Just like it wasn't that Ralph Macchio, not that Mark Teixeira. But yeah, and a notable member of the War Dogs that in the comic books was the White Wolf, which we know Bucky kind of gets that nickname. Back on our episode about Black Panther, I actually talked a little bit more about the White Wolf and that whole thing. So if you want more about the White Wolf, go listen to that Black Panther episode. That's one of our best episodes.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, go check that one out if you want more about the White Wolf. But yeah, in short, this whole series is based around the War Dogs, and they were introduced in '98.
Yeah, it's cool, and we see it in obviously see War Dogs in Black Panther, the first one, kind of the very beginning. So coming in, we'll talk about reactions in a second. So the where we got to from here. So in February 2021, Ryan Coogler, who famously wrote and directed Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, announced a 5-year TV deal between his production company, Proximity Media, and Walt Disney. And the deal included the development of a drama series for the streaming service Disney Plus based on Wakanda. And that's all we really knew. It was Wakanda based, didn't know who it was about, didn't know if it was around the lineage of the Black Panther, Dora Milaje. But as you note, it is around the War Dogs. So, former Marvel Studios what was cool I like about this when doing research on the production, they definitely dug in and got people who are like storyboard artists and so forth. And so it's not just your typical like, oh, hey, let's get this famous director. They definitely like kind of digging in and you kind of feel almost like they're trying to build up the next level of like talent, the bench, if you will. So Marvel showrunner storyboard artist Todd Harris was confirmed to be the showrunner. He was storyboard artist for Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, John Wick, X-Men Origins, Triple X, one of your favorites. I knew I was going to get a response there. And John Fang was a director as well. He produced Ben 10. He did like art department for animated properties. So definitely like not, these were their earlier forms of directing, if you will. It was written by Jeffrey Thorne, who wrote for Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assemble, and Mark Bernardin, who did the video game Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. Audience reactions, critics 92%, audience 70%.
Dude, so the audience score on this, because I was pulling this for our bet, which we'll talk about in a second. I just say I hate Rotten Tomatoes. So I saw you put this in, right? At the time you pulled it, it was at 70. The time I pulled it for our bet, it was at 60. And then earlier today I checked again, it was at 53.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
it's up to 57.
Avatar better do a boat ton of money. Anyway, all right, I'll put that aside. Like, Rotten Tomatoes sucks. Anyway, I did not pull in 1-star reviews, but I'm sure there are a bunch on Rotten Tomatoes. So, going into it, like, what were you expecting? I picked it as the audience choice because I felt like it's Ryan Coogler. It'll be well done. It will have like even in the context of animation, like some character development. It'll be interesting and informative. Learn some new stuff. Sorry that the audience hates it, but or not hates it, like just they're just not loving it. So, but what were you thinking coming into it? Like, what were your thoughts on it?
I was excited. I like the idea. Like, I really like what animation is allowing the MCU to do, right? It's allowing a lot of exploration of the space. And so like I was excited for that. I did not, at least I did not see in very much advertisement to understand that it was going to be the War Dogs or it was going to be I don't I mean, I saw the advertisements that had like the Iron Fist mask in it and some things like that was like, oh cool. And I think we had some, they had announced that Kunlun was going to be in it and some of those things, and so there was a little bit of like, oh cool, they're going to bring in some stuff we haven't seen in the MCU. um so I was kind of excited for that, and to get to know more about Wakanda was really exciting. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was disappointed it was only 4 episodes, 4 30-minute episodes. That was like a little bit of a like, I don't know if this is really gonna feel satisfying, but um, but yeah. What about yourself?
I suspect that some of the excuse me, the dissatisfaction had to do with the fact there were only 4 episodes. You get
Mm-hmm.
roughly
Two and a
like
half hour or 2 hours of content. Yeah.
not even that much when you factor in credits. It's
Yeah.
probably more like 90 minutes. So I get the sense maybe some people dinged it on that. I can't say they did a fantastic job of marketing it. The all releases on the same day sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad. It's 29 minutes. It would have been nice to have like a little bit more of a build up. Would have been nice to have like a little bit more fanfare around it. I did like the animation style. I did like the way they told the story.
Yeah.
The animation style is obviously different than like Spidey and Friends or the Spider-Man we watched earlier, which is more comic bookish, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. This had a different kind of look and feel. I enjoyed it quite a bit. These episodes, to your point about the number they produced or released, these episodes weren't that expensive to make. When I did some research, it sounded like they had Disney had to file something in England because they got a tax credit
Okay.
for a company. So they set up, as we talked about before, they set up separate LLCs for all these different ventures. And I think it was called Vibes 4 or 4 Vibes. And so people thought that like, okay, it's an animated series. It's probably Vibranium. It's probably for Wakanda, for the Eyes of Wakanda. And it clocked in around like 19 million plus. And then they got like a $1.6 million credit. So it was like 17 million to make. So not that much. And so you're wondering, like, I don't know, could you crank out a few more? Because I really enjoyed the stories. I like the period jumping. It took a second for me to orient myself as to what
Mm-hmm.
was going on. And maybe that was one of the criticisms that folks had. But I was down for like whatever. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I kind of liked that it was that anthology style where there was a little bit of connection, right? Like
mm-hmm.
especially you could not watch episode 4 without watching 1 through 3.
Yep.
Um but in general it was kind of just it was more of that anthology feel. Um so yeah, I think overall I liked it. I wish there was more. I do wish there was more. I think like maybe it'll be like What If, where well no, it won't be, because I don't think that, I think we would have heard about it in like kind of the cultural zeitgeist, if you will, of people kind of enjoying it. Um but yeah, I really liked it, and I did find I found it interesting. I was listening to the official Marvel podcast today, and they were talking about it, and I think maybe it was Ryan Coogler was being interviewed, or somebody was being interviewed, whether it was Todd Harris or Ryan Coogler or somebody. And they said that like they were really searching for like what they wanted this to be, and they grabbed onto the once the idea of the War Dogs came about, like it was like lightning in a bottle. They were like, okay, cool, this is what we're gonna do. And they ran with it, which is really cool, and it is interesting to take this group that we don't know much about in the movies, and have that be your center point and your kind of guide through Wakandan history, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think just a little bit more of a historical thread, a little bit more marketing. That would have helped quite a bit.
Mhm.
I really liked it. I would like more episodes of it. I mean, if like I don't know, if they had an episode on Chachaka making food, I'm like, sure, I'll watch it. Like, I watch so much Food Network, why not? And so it'll be interesting to see if we get second seasons or if this was just a kind of a one and done. I think because it is so inexpensive to produce animated content. There were not, looking at the list of stars, there were not that many big voice characters, if you will. And if you can make 4 episodes for roughly like 4 or 5 million each, makes a lot of sense that this would be the future, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe if it's a toe in the water and they come back to it, great. If Proximity Media and Disney make other content, down for it.
Yeah. We can run down the episodes real quick. I'll just read through them and we can kind of go from there.
Sure.
So episode 1, set in 2060 BC, primarily in Crete, which is a island off of Greece. A rogue war dog named Nakati has become a pirate known as the Lion in Crete, and he has to be dealt with by a former Dora Milaje named Noni, who by the end of the episode kind of becomes the first director of the war dogs, which we'll actually see her later in the series, but come back. But she goes on she's offered her place back with the Dora, but she instead joins the War Dogs. And this kind of sets the formula for the series, if you will, where each episode is about some sort of mission to recover Wakandan artifacts. In this case, this is a war dog that has gone rogue, who took a artifact with him, and is creating this big pirate army of of followers, um, with this like lion mask that he has.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of episode 1?
So I would say that for all of them, I enjoyed them all.
Sure.
If I am going to say like a rank, like I enjoyed the introduction. I had to watch it twice to make sure I was understanding what it was. I mean, jumping back 3,000 years was a little bit like, okay, cool. Where are the dinosaurs? But kidding, that was a joke. It's not a real thing. Um, but I liked it, and I like the fact that we you get pretty plugged into the fact that like, okay, it's the Dora Milaje, which you're familiar with. It took a second to realize the war dog element, and then it, obviously will shift in future episodes. I don't know. And I love the visual of it. You could tell that the director who was the storyboard artist was Todd Harris. Like you could feel like there was a definite intentionality. There was definite thought as to like the pictures, the colors, just the scenery, if you will. Those parts are beautiful, and especially when you look at like when in episode 3, I thought all the snowy scenes. I thought it was visually very well done. So I was like, episode 1, I was like, this is great. Where are the other 13? And then it's just like, oh, there's only 3 more. Never mind.
Yeah. So then we jump forward about 60 years to 1200 BC, during the Trojan War, where war dog Memnon is embedded with Achilles, during the Trojan War, and he ends up using the infamous Trojan horse plot, to recover an artifact of Wakanda, and ends up killing Achilles by stabbing his heel, because we all know that story. This one, I don't know if it's just because like I know this history slash lore best, but it was interesting in the way that like this was like, well, actually these things happened because there was a Wakandan there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's true of every episode, right? I don't know the history of Crete, or um the Italian Ethiopian wars. I don't
Yep.
know those quite as well. But this was, Achilles heel gets broken. Yeah,
Right.
all that.
Yep. Don't worry, Ryan. When we get around to the episodes, there will be extensive research. Let's talk about Ethiopia in 1896. And let's
Right.
talk about like all the. No, I would of the episodes. I would agree with you. This is the one that I kind of had the most referential knowledge about, and I like how it to your earlier point, it does feel a little what if-ish, like
Yes.
because they're introducing an element of something that you and I would not know about because we're not there. It might have been my least favorite one, only because it just seemed like there was a lot of action, and I like it when you're certainly going to have action. All these, like, they're all
Yeah,
very kind of like, we are going to reclaim the artifacts, and there's that element of it. But I like it a little bit more when there's a little bit more, um, a little more relational. You're telling a little bit more of the story. I don't need a ton of exposition, but it's nice to kind of put things into a frame of reference, these historical things, if you will. That one just seemed a lot of like, oh, okay, I'm watching Game of Thrones with
that's
like
fair.
Achilles
Yeah.
and like Memnon. So wait, so
Yeah. No, I can totally see that for sure, for sure, for sure. Um so then we move on to episode 3. This one's a big jump, right? We jump what, about 2000 years into the future.
2,600 years, yeah.
Um and we start off in China, in Kunlun, for those who are Iron Fist fans. You know what that means. Um Sorry, there we go. Cool. I was looking up. We actually have a podcast friend called the Deadly Kung Fu Podcast, and they're an Iron Fist podcast. They follow us on Instagram and interact with us every once in a while, and so shouts outs to the Deadly Kung Fu podcast. Um, but yeah, War Dog in Kunlun steals a dragon statue. Kind of, he's not supposed to steal the whole statue, just the piece of vibranium that's in it. But the Iron Fist uh follows him home and takes back the statue. This one was interesting, just in the like. I thought this one had one of the more deep stories, because ultimately the War Dog is kind of faced with this idea of like, so a lot of the story of Wakanda is based around the idea of like, hey, you were colonized, all your things were stolen, right? Or not Wakanda is like, what if that didn't happen, right? Because that's the story of Africa. It was colonized, and many things were stolen off of Africa by Europeans. Um, and this is like, and Wakanda's always been that kind of like, what if that didn't happen? That Afrofuturism kind of piece. And this was interesting because it was forcing the War Dogs to think about like, well, aren't you just doing what everybody else is doing, right? You're just going around, you're stealing your art. Yeah, you're stealing your artifacts back, but they've been there for thousands of years. So does it really make sense that you know, to steal it back? And I thought that was really poignant when that kind of came up,
Yeah.
which
That
I
was
thought.
that was and that was my point, was like, yeah, the punch, stab, fight stuff is fine. But to have those kind of conversations, this was my favorite episode of the entire series.
That's fair.
Like, I think I enjoyed the dynamic between Basha and I liked it between leader Ebo, I mean, and I liked the appearance of, I liked Iron Fist as a kid, and so it was nice to see Iron Fist show up. It's great that she shows up, and she is just like, just very, very, um there, it's this weird kind of thing, because they had like the personal relationship. She saved him when he crashed, brought him back to, to health, nursed him to health. They obviously had like some sort of relationship or kinship. He steals the entire dragon head because he can't get the vibranium piece out. And then they have this big conflict. And I'm watching, I'm just like, oh, she's just going to take the vibranium piece out and just take the head, and he's going to walk away with the vibranium piece. But still, even knowing when they're going to get to, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not my favorite, because episode 4 is my favorite, which I'm sure does not surprise David at all. But I did like this one a lot. I liked the inclusion of um the Iron Fist and Black Panther. They intertwine in the comics all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So cool to see
Yeah.
them intertwining here.
Yeah, it was cool. I like the shift of the character. You're used to seeing like Danny Rand, and this one it's Jirani. And it does make me think like, oh, is there just Iron Fist mantle that gets passed down like the Black Panther. So I enjoyed
Yeah,
this one quite a bit.
for sure.
But you like episode 4 the
I
most.
loved episode 4. So episode 4 set in 1896 AD during the First Italo-Ethiopian War. Prince Tafari is observing war dog Kuda, or I think it was Kudo is how it's pronounced. In the field, they encounter the Black Panther from 500 years in the future, which would be 2396, where Wakanda and all of Earth was destroyed by the Horde, which is a comic book, and they were actually pretty comic book accurate. The Horde looked pretty good. Um, Essentially, the Black Panther is trying to make sure Killmonger gets the axe that we see him pick up in 2018, make sure that that axe gets to him, basically, is what
Mm-hmm.
this Black Panther is doing, because the whole point here, and you actually see the Watcher at the very beginning of the episode, he's up in the sky, and so this I was surprised by this. I was surprised we went to this kind of multiversal, like, making things right through time travel kind of place. That was actually a lot of bit surprising to me. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of just like, here's the historical pieces of Wakanda that you've missed because they were isolationist. But the net story here is that the axe has to be found by Killmonger so that in the future T'Challa can bring the country out of hiding, right?
Right.
That kicks off the events that brings Wakanda out of hiding, and because Wakanda is out of hiding, it means that they work with the rest of the world, which means the rest of the world is ready to stop the Horde. Instead of, in this Black Panther's timeline, Wakanda stayed as a isolationist nation, and therefore the Earth was not ready when the Horde came, and the Horde destroyed the Earth.
Right. Yeah. Really good episode. This is my second favorite one. I like how they brought in, again, this could have been 3 episodes. It would have been great to have, like, I could have taken this story for 4 episodes. This would be
You
great.
you actually there actually was a formula here, like, thinking about it, that's almost like the What If series, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you get 3 episodes that are just total anthology, just telling a random story, and then you get 3 episodes that are basically telling one arc.
Yep. Kind of like the last season, right?
Mhm. Um, so yeah, I mean, overall, like I say, 4 was my favorite for sure. Um, and as soon as I saw the axe, I was like, "Oh, is that axe?" And then I was not expecting the time travel element. I was not expecting Black Panther from 500 years in the future to show up or anything like that.
Nope.
But it was cool. It wasn't so heady that it got distracting, I don't think.
So with this, we've now seen how many Black Panthers?
Shuri, T'Chaka, T'Challa, this one. So that's 4. Uh T'Chaka's dad, right?
We saw Bashenga, who was in
Shenga.
T'Chaka, T'Challa, Killmonger, Shuri.
Oh yeah, Killmonger. I forgot about
Yep.
Killmonger.
Yep. And then the last Black Panther. So kind of fun. Kind of fun we've seen it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, any other thoughts on Wakanda Forever before
I
we move on?
am going to log into Rotten Tomatoes after this. I'm going to use several email addresses and I'm just going to upvote this as much as I can.
Yeah. I will say, like, we knew this was a risk going in with using Rotten Tomatoes, and we will I mean, some of that review bombing does get leveled out over time, and so I'll pull the number, like, your final number will come from the end of the year. So hopefully there's a little bit of time there where it can level out a little bit, but
Doesn't
uh
matter. Doesn't matter. I'm going to submit this to my accounting firm and my attorneys, and we will resolve it through an acrimonious dispute resolution process. It's fine.
Oh man. Well, that wasn't the only Marvel content that released this week. Um we also had Iron Man and his awesome friends, which I am only about 3 episodes into its head, but it's super cute, super duper fun. So for those who don't know, this is the preschool show um set in the same ish universe. Well, and actually I'll get to that in a second. I forgot to write this down in the notes. As Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is another preschool show. Um my son loves it. He loves Iron Man and his awesome friends. He makes me play Ultron all the time cuz
Okay.
it's like Ultron, it's some weird villains, I'm not going to lie. It's like Ultron and Swarm and
Okay.
Absorbing Man. Um but no, it's super fun. John Stamos is the voice of Howard Stark in it. Howard Stark is not crappy Howard Stark. Because it's a preschool show, so
I would have thought that you would have absorbed all this into your veins like an early morning latte.
yeah. Yeah, I mean Ted and I have been watching it a little bit by little bit. It's super cute, and I mean I will say I think I think it's gonna result in us doing Iron Man as Halloween costumes, so
Okay.
it'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
They did announce, so they did this Disney Junior event this past weekend. And during that they announced a few shows, but namely the one that's interesting here for the Monthly Bugle is they announced that they are going to make a Avengers preschool show. So kind of combining the Spider-Man side and the Iron Man side and make an Avengers preschool show. So pretty cool. If you've got kiddos who you're trying to get into Marvel, now is a great time to do it because there's some not terrible shows to watch and enjoy. Like the music in it is good. The theme song for for Iron Man and his awesome friends is done by Mark Hoppus from Blink 182. And it includes a little Blink 182 nod, something about like you'll remember your adventures even when you're 23, which fun little reference to What's My Age Again. Um, all the Spidey music is done by Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy. So, um, for all us millennial parents, it's kind of a fun time to have superhero loving kids.
And if you don't mind explaining to your children why several of the Avengers are dead and why they're still alive in the TV show, this is your opportunity to talk about End of Life. No, I'm just kidding. So it should be fun. I'll probably on like a random Saturday just start streaming and watching in the background. But anyway, by the way, I should point out when we talk about park stuff, the hotel we sometimes stay at. There's like because it's so close to Disneyland. They have a poster, and I remember looking at. I'll take a picture next time I'm there. I'm just like, oh, half these people are dead, or it's like it's like Black Widow and Iron Man, and just, Captain America's not there anymore. Anyway, it just needs to be updated. So, but we have other content coming up.
Speaking of dead things that aren't dead anymore. Oh, we are you doing? Did you want to talk about zombies?
Go for it.
Okay, cool. Next new thing to come out is going to be Marvel Zombies. So nothing in September, folks. We are no Marvel releases in September. You get a break. um, but in October we start right at the beginning. October 3rd, we get Marvel Zombies. So for those who aren't aware, this is an animated project, kind of dovetailing off of the What If episode that was Marvel Zombies. There's also a ton of comic book continuity, or there's a ton of comic book background for Marvel Zombies. Some of
We
the
saw them in What If, right?
Yeah, we saw them in What If, but yeah. So it looks like we've got some new cast that have come up. So Thor, Valkyrie, Black Panther, John Walker, Baron Zemo, Namor, and Melania Vostokov, who we just talked about. So they're bringing back the last member of the Black Widow family that we haven't seen back in the back in yet.
Good old Melina. God bless her. Anyway,
Yeah, should be fun. Um, and then there's some Funko Pops that also dropped for you know synergistic releases and all that. Um,
are you
so
going to purchase any of the Funko Pops?
maybe I have like hundreds of Funko Pops.
I can see them in the background of the Zoom
Well,
right
this
now.
is like just us. I have literally 3 like plastic totes sealed up in my crawl space of them that I just need to
Okay.
figure out where to put them. So I don't know. I mean, I've been slowing down on buying them because I just don't put them out that much.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
these are fun. I do have fun fact. I do love the Marvel Zombies. I actually have um I have first edition issues 1 through 5, and actually I have issue 1 signed by Arthur Sudham, who drew the cover art for all those.
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking. Are you looking forward to Marvel Zombies?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I like some fun horror kind of stuff. I'm not going to be watching this one with Ted. But yeah, I think this one will be cool. What about you?
Yeah, the stakes are low, right?
Yes.
Like there's no continuity issue. It's just going to be like I feel like it will be reminiscent of the What If episode where we got to see the Avenger zombies, which I really enjoyed quite a bit. I enjoy zombie movies. I enjoyed The Walking Dead until it jumped the shark. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And a quick question before we pivot. You have to leave your house. You get to pick one Funko Pop in your family to take with you. Which Funko Pop are you grabbing?
Ooh,
Assuming you can find it.
that's a tough one. Um, Off top of my head, I'm gonna probably grab. Uh,
Note to the viewers. He is actually
I'm
looking over his
looking at
shoulder.
what's behind me. Um, I would say I would probably grab my Eddie Munson. I have Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Okay,
Uh,
I
and
like it.
and he's in his full like he's got his guitar, and it's when he's playing Master of Puppets. So that one would probably be one I would grab. I have a ton though. I mean, I have like Groot dressed up as Iron Man back here. I have a giant Ewok over my like the giant size Funko Pops that's an Ewok. I have a ton of Disneyland and Disney World ones, like including like Walt Disney himself, and have a Jackie Robinson one up there that would also be another like that one would be maybe I pick, but
I just see you just grabbing a sheet and just dumping them in there and just pulling them
yeah,
over your
they're already in
putting them over your
boxes,
shoulder
right?
like Santa Claus. Like, let's get out of here, folks. Anyway,
Yeah.
the only other content we have, really, well, not the only the we both saw the video for the next Spider-Man movie.
Yep. The day one video. So I think this one. So what I think is so funny is I think all of the videos we've seen for Spider-Man so far have been kind of hand forced. I think that the suit reveal that they did was because they knew they were going to be shooting in Belgium and people were going to see him.
Was that Belgium? That's Belgium doubling as New York.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Brand New Day.
Yes.
If I'm, yep, which is coming out in July 2026.
Yep.
And first day of filming. So, which is kind of funny. You're like, oh wow, you're gonna make one of these in like less than a year. That's wild.
Yeah, and they were doing like the first day of filming was this big like Spider-Man jumping on top of a tank kind of thing, going through streets and stuff. And so that's why like photos of that leaked way ahead of this video coming out. But I think that they were just like, okay, cool, people like it. Why don't we, kind of film it for posterity and put out the
Totally.
video
Yep.
to get
Totally.
people
Why not?
excited.
Right. Because again, it's all going to show up on like Reddit or Instagram, whatever, it might as well like embrace it, get in front of it, and quite frankly, like get people talking about the next thing. Because we're not getting more Marvel this year. I mean, we'll know more movies, we'll get
Right.
more shows, but not movies.
Yeah, because we have zombies and then Wonder Man is all we have left this year, I think. So
Yeah, well, Zombies October, Wonder Man is
December.
December.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. It was fun to see Tom Holland back at it again. And the suit looks great. It's very, very, very. You can tell it's inspired by the other two Spider-Men. It's got kind of the
Mm-hmm.
longer legs on the spider logo and stuff. Um, so yeah, that should be fun. I know there's been a lot of talk around it about that being much more street level. You know, Frank Castle's going to be in it, which goes back to that idea of it being street level. Um, Bruce Banner is also going to be in it, which is weird. We'll
Are
see
you
how that
excited to
fits
see
in.
Matt Gargan, aka the new Mordo,
Yeah,
show up? Like,
that'd be cool. Um, so yeah, I'm interested in this one, and I'm curious if we're gonna get like Miles teased again because we know that like Sony has said that that Marvel doesn't get Miles until all the animated movies are done. But we've got Liza Colon Zanias cast, and that would seem like that could be Miles's mom. So, be curious to see that for sure.
yeah, I may watch the movie. We'll see. Whatever. I've got nothing else going on. So,
Oh, well, let's take a quick check in on our bet, David. So for those who don't remember or know, we did a kind of draft at the beginning of the year where we each picked a Marvel movie. We each picked a non-Marvel movie or a wild card. It could also have been a Marvel movie, although both of us chose non-Marvel movies. We
but
each
superhero kind of adjacent, somewhat related to it,
yeah.
right? Like, you can't just be like, hey, I'm just going to pick, Barbie 2, right?
um and then we each picked a fan favorite where we get the Rotten Tomatoes score for streamers, and then we picked a critic darling where we get the Metacritic score expressed as a percentage for that. So with that being said, and then we math it all together and get a final number. So with that being said, both my movies are out. So I have Fantastic Four and Superman. Fantastic Four is the best performing Marvel movie of the year at $437 million. Woof. Um, David, you have the second best performing Marvel movie at with Captain America: Brave New World at 415. Uh,
What was Thunderbolts? Like
Thunderbolts,
408, 400? It was
did
over
it
400.
break 400 yet? I last I had looked, it had not broken 400.
So so in the context, so yes, the numbers seem on the low side, but you can't compare to 2019.
Right.
2019, like gross worldwide box, like I think it was like 38 billion, 34 billion. Like
Yeah.
the last year was like 24. So basically, you have to multiply everything this year by 1.5 to equate it to 2019. And a
Yeah.
dollar is a dollar, and so it's not like you can't entirely make it up, but to measure the success if a film does, if Superman does 580 million, that's probably eight something, right? That's not that
Yeah.
bad. The days of the, hey, let's do, Quantum Mania will make $1 billion. I can't remember if it did, but like we can crank out any Marvel
Well,
movie to make
and
$1 billion.
and the other thing I was reading about that was that the Chinese market has fallen off
It's
in a
fallen.
big way
It's gone. It's gone. Or I can't say it's gone. It's been refocused on local
on
created films.
things made. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Which I mean that was frequently that was like half or more of your earnings was just China, right?
Yep.
And so
Thanks for those movie tariffs. Just kidding. Sorry. I couldn't resist. Sorry, I'm just being stupid.
so yeah, Superman was my other movie at 581 million. By the way, Thunderbolts does come out on Disney Plus the 27th
Yeah.
of August, so it's going to be done. It's not going to crack for 400 million, which is unfortunate because it was 100% a better movie than Captain America Brave New World.
I thought it was better than Fantastic Four, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like 1A, 1B, and like if I'm in the mood to get in my feelings and explore mental health, I'm going to watch Thunderbolts. If I'm in the mood for basically a phase 1 Marvel movie, I'm going to watch Fantastic Four.
So it kind of
Yeah.
boils down the two open.
So our two open slots right now. So I had Daredevil Born Again, which gave me an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It did great. I'm waiting to see the return for the critics on Wonder Man, which comes out in December. Now, if that doesn't come out, I'm gonna take a 0 in that slot.
Which you would hope for. 80% is really good.
Eighty
Like I would.
percent is really good, yeah. Um, and then David, you have Captain America: Brave New World. We already talked about that. You're waiting on Avatar: Fire and Ash, which, let's face it, Avatar and Fire and Ash is gonna make bank. It I would put it somewhere in the 400 million as like if I would put its over under at 400 million and I would take the over. This is I guess the what I would say.
So when we did the draft, though, we talked about like I would get the full run.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think we will
It doesn't
make
matter because I'm getting crushed on the
well,
review
yeah,
vote.
your percentages are rough. But yeah, I will definitely give you the full run until it gets onto Disney Plus as long as they don't do something stupid like make it last a year before it goes on Disney Plus, but
Just ride it out, man. Cannot wait.
but yeah,
Cannot
I
wait.
I will for sure give you the full run. Um and then yeah, you
it
had
would it would be funny if we're like you look at the fine print and you're like, oh, you take the average of your fan favorite, your critic darling, and if Wonder Man gets 0, then you get 0 for half as opposed to the 80%. That'd be okay. Now I'm gonna write the rules next year. I'm on this. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun. I think it'd be pretty close. I think
yeah.
Fire and Ash will probably do a lot of money. I don't love Avatar. I really don't want to buy a ticket for it, but
Yeah.
pretty competitive, so might have to. Just
So
kidding.
to put it out there where we're at, so right now I'm at 814 and a half million dollars, I guess. They're really kind of points, but whatever. And then David, you are currently at $556 million. Let's see what happens if Avatar makes $400 million. I'm just gonna do the numbers real quick.
One other comment, and maybe it doesn't make a difference, but you might maybe in the future we could just do like the average of your fan favorite and critic, and that's your multiplier. So rather than
Yeah,
137, it'd be, if I can do math, 68
yeah.
and a half. So whatever. It probably doesn't matter at all, but
So if Wonder Man does not come out, which there's a possibility, it's outside, but if it doesn't come out, I take a 0 there, and you get 400 million from Avatar. You do win. So now if Wonder Man comes out and it's a stinker and it comes out at about 50%, critic rating, um and Avatar makes that 400 million, I win. So it is close. I would say it's closer than last year. That's for sure.
Wait. If you take 0, you just get 80%.
Right.
You don't take 80 and a 0 for 40. You get a full 80%.
I get 80%, whereas you got like 134%.
Oh yeah. I would take average. That's why we should do average,
Yeah.
because it's not fair. Like I should not get a double score. It should be average. Anyway,
Eh.
we'll send this to our accountants. It'll be fine. So
but yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, right now I'm leading. I think it is tighter. Like I say, I do want to say it's much tighter than last year. Then again, last year you were supposed to get a Spider-Man movie that's still not going to come out for another 2 years from now. So be that what it is.
yeah, it's the last time, Ryan, that I'm going to let you. Oh, go ahead, buddy. You take the first pick in the draft, and then I'm kind of like,
Throughout that draft, I was like, David, what are you doing? But
when we get once we get to our draft podcast, then you're gonna see the knives come out. So, anyway, so it'll be fun. It'll go down the wire. People are just gonna have to keep this. Have to wait and see.
yeah.
It is, like you said, it is closer than last year for sure. So,
Right on. Well, let's go to what would usually be my ConciEARS. Well, it is my ConciEARS corner. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a travel planner with ConciEARS. I can plan travel for you. Reach out to me, Tomorrowland Travel Authority. Actually, with what we're going to talk about here in a second, you should definitely follow me at Tomorrowland Travel Authority. Because David and I are going to be in the parks together, and I'm concierging it up for this whole trip. I'm planning it and figuring it all out. So yeah, pretty excited. We're going to be in the parks end of this month. It'll actually be over my birthday, which I think might be the first time I'm in the parks on my birthday. Maybe.
what day's your birthday? Is it Thursday
29th.
or Friday? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you book yourself the fat 5-day Pixar Pier Hotel? Like that one family? No?
No, I did book. I actually booked a really cool room, and follow my Instagram if you're interested in any of this sort of stuff, because I will definitely be posting some stuff about this room. So I booked a room that's like one of 6, and it's in the new Disneyland Villas area. And it's called a Garden Studio Duo. So the Studio Duos in the new Villas tower of the Disneyland Hotel they're like tiny. In fact, the bed is not even always down. It's a Murphy bed that you put up so that you have a couch in your room when you're not using it as a bed. So not necessarily something you want to stay in with more than like a couple or something like that. But for me, I'm traveling solo on this trip, so I booked this room. And some of these rooms are in the tower, and you kind of actually are in like this weird little skinny space. You get a patio on each of these rooms, which is kind of cool. And the ones in the tower kind of face the air conditioners and face the like um face the road that's back there or whatever. But the garden variety are really cool because my patio actually goes out onto the new DVC pool. And like faces out into the pool area. Um and so it's really interesting. I'm really interested to see how this room is. Um they can be actually a little bit more affordable. These rooms fill up fast, but for like a couple who's doing a quick hit trip, these are great rooms. And I get my early entry. I get early entry for staying on property, so I can get into the parks a little bit early each day, and get all the perks of being on property. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, David, you're coming down, and sounds like you and your partner are coming down on Friday, and we'll get to hang out Friday, and then you're
Well, it
heading
sounds
home
like we're not
Saturday.
staying in the room as planned, but okay, it's cool. Whatever, it's fine. We can stay at the Howard Johnson's in Fullerton. It's fine. It's no
There
big
we
deal.
go.
the joke I always tell my family: we're gonna stay at the Jolly Roger. It's not a real place, but it's like my made up local motel. No, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We'll record some stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
some
we'll definitely
video,
get some stuff.
throw some stuff on our MySpace account. I'm looking forward to it.
It was funny. Everything about this trip is like one day too late or one day too early though. I have to share this. So the Wednesday, because I'm going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night is Shohei Ohtani 50-50 bobblehead night at the Dodgers game,
Okay.
which when I tell you I considered moving my flights around and getting out there, I definitely did. But it was going to be like an extra, with the extra night in a hotel plus Dodgers tickets are like 500 or like $100 to sit in the nosebleeds right now. Um, I was like, yeah, never mind.
I,
Um,
one of the last times we went and we stayed at the Anaheim Sheraton, I think it was, there were tour buses taking folks who were visiting, presumably from Japan, to go to Anaheim to watch Shohei Ohtani.
with the Angels.
Yeah, with the Angels. So it was back when he was pitching, and I can only imagine like how amped up that is now with
Oh yeah.
Dodgers games, and so
And then actually that weekend is the beard competition in LA, which I used to go to. I went to a few years in a row, and um, so there I keep seeing them post stuff like the competition's on Saturday. And so again, I did consider rearranging my flights, but ultimately I'm gonna stay focused on Disney stuff.
guys,
But
you're just going to move there. You're just going to be there for Shohei Hitani's 50-50 night. You're going to go to the beard competition,
yeah.
go to like Knott's Berry Farm. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, so watch out on our socials. Like I say, watch mine, watch the Puny Pod. I'm sure there will be stuff that we'll post there. Um, we gotta capitalize on the lizard meme, or maybe I don't know, the "this is my husband" meme. I'll find all the memes. We'll capitalize on all of them.
You've completely lost me, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, let's talk about some rumors, some things that have kind of started to shake out a little bit further field, not necessarily the trailers that have come out or anything, but yeah, David, I know you had a couple of stories you saw.
Yeah. So the let me go to our tab. Um, there were bear with the moment. A couple things that are coming out. There was an article that talked about when we're talking segueing back to Black Panther rumors around Black Panther 3. I think we talked about in the prior episode. I think we are going to see that appear on the slate at some point in time. And I think they were looking at 2028. Now, whether they bring back Shuri's Black Panther, where they recast, which is what I tend to think they'll do, I think a lot of it's going to depend upon what goes on in the upcoming Avengers movies and whether everything just gets kind of like recast, multiverses
Mhm.
collapse and you just get new characters and we're going from there. So we will see as we get closer. We will nerd out on the details. Other thing I saw was if you want, you can get your Blade merch. We don't have a date. We don't have a script. We might have a director. There's a semi-soft commitment to making a Blade movie. But until then, if you want to get some merch, go get some merch.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna at least show up in Zombies, which is what some of this merch is. It's another Funko Pop.
It would
So
keep the statement that um it would keep the statement like we will see Blade in the MCU. That is keeping a promise.
yeah, that's Feige's way out of all of his
That would be
continual
the
promises.
funniest thing in the world. Is like, yep, showed up in one episode of Marvel Zombies. So
I wanted to put out just a quick story that I saw. Well, it wasn't a story I saw actually. Well, I was on Instagram on Monday night, much like many of my fellow Swifties, awaiting the announcement that Taylor was counting down to, um, which ended up being the announcement of her 12th studio album. And about the same time she announced that, her bestie, Ryan Reynolds, also posted a very interesting post on Instagram. So this was posted without caption and without commentary. And it's a picture of, it looks like a t-shirt or maybe the back of a director's chair or something. And it is the Avengers A with the Anarchy A kind of spray painted over it. Um so this was posted to Ryan Reynolds' official Instagram. He, as far as I've seen, has not commented on it. He was not one of the names on the chairs in the live stream that we got for Doomsday. Um so David, what do you think? What do you think Ryan Reynolds is trying to tell us?
He just wants attention. No, is that not fair? I don't know. I saw the logo that you posted. God only knows what it means. Like I've gotten to the point where I saw there was you probably may not have seen it, but like there was a post that Anthony Davis and LeBron James posted the same exact thing within like 20 minutes of each other. And like people trying to read into it, like I have no idea. No clue. Does it mean they're going to play together in the Lakers or Dallas next year? Who knows? How
Yeah.
about you? What do you think it is?
I think it is indicating that Deadpool will be in Doomsday, and I don't think that's a stretch.
No, I think it was kind of understood or assumed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Um so maybe, there's been a lot of speculation about, like, are we going to get another set of director's chairs, right? Like, is there maybe a second half, and maybe this is building towards that sometime soon? Because Marvel is going to have a slow couple of months in the news cycle, right? Like, Fantastic Four just came out. Thunderbolts is about to go on Disney Plus. They don't have any content coming out in September, so like the news cycle around Marvel is going to die down a little bit in September. It'll pick back up a little bit in October with the Marvel Zombie stuff, die back down in November, but they'll probably use November to really hype up Wonder Man. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wonder if maybe September is when we're gonna get a little bit more, maybe some more cast announcements for Doomsday, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a trailer for, well, no, that would probably be in November, but I do wonder a little bit if they're going to use that kind of lull in releases to try and capitalize on the news cycle a little bit with some announcements.
Yeah, of course they are, right? Of course they're going to like fill in like blank air time if there's
Yeah.
nothing else going on, for sure.
So, and maybe in there we get another 5-hour live stream that is, a bunch more people who are going to be in Doomsday.
I'm just waiting for them to sell it as a pay-per-view, right? At this point in time. No, I would anticipate they'll have that was just one row of chairs. There are
Yeah.
going to be more chairs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We talked about this on the show. Like it was like who's
Mhm.
going to be is it going to be Chris Evans at one end and Chris Hemsworth at the other? Like they're all coming back.
Yeah. Yep. Um So yeah, I mean, I think maybe this is, the actors are starting to roll towards that. It's starting to get things kind of shaken for everybody. So with that said, um let's see, closing thoughts. Check out our socials. We are across all socials, Puny Pod. You can just search Puny Pod. The actual username changes a little bit. I think like Instagram is the Puny Pod. Some places we have an underscore, other places we don't. If you just simply search for Puny, PUNYPOD, you'll find us across all socials, and make sure you're tuned into them because we should be posting stuff. We get to hang out and So that means we're going to make some content and get it posted. So enjoy what we've got for you. And check out the Patreon. We are mostly caught up. We just released the Falcon and Winter Soldier super secret spoiler show, so Loki will be coming soon on there. Check out the main show. At time of recording, we're recording on Wednesday night. I just set the Black Widow episode to release on Thursday, the 14th of August. So check that out. I think that's all the things. Our next main show will be What If Season 1. So go check that out. And other than that, enough said. Woo!
Boo!